The knee pads were how I got into the contest. What's up, YouTube? It's Big Ryan the Fat Guy. Are you kidding me? Big Ryan the Fat Guy have been lights out against the spread since we started releasing videos in week 10. We're hitting at a 56% clip. This includes the Colts making a game out of it on Saturday night, a Bengals outright win against the Detroit Lions. The Titans were an onside kick away from almost upsetting Sean McVay and the LA Rams. The Browns still have Hugh Jackson. Cam Newton fumbled his way to a win but missed the cover. The Saints took care of business at home against the Falcons, and Jimmy G lit up the top defense in the league, albeit the Jags did have to travel 3 time zones, and the dysfunctional Seahawks made the public rethink the strength of Jason Garrett's Cowboys. What is confusing is week after week, Big Ryan the Fat Guy teach you how to make smart picks. All we get is flack for our picks in the comment section below. It makes you guys look silly. Fat Guy, highlight why these guys are a bunch of bozos.
Whoa, bozos, that's a little far. But we are going to air some grievances this holiday season. There are some grievances to air. What do you want me to do? I just win every week. The worst I've done is tied. So you can't complain about me. It's maybe because you don't know what you're talking about, Kevin McNally. But I'm going to dumb it down. I'm going to use euphemisms. I'm not as hard on the audience as Big Ryan is. So this week in Inaccuracy, we're featuring comments from AJ Wade, Jason Norris, Dawson Cruz, and Diamond Fred. Both Wade and Cruz are like much of America, where the value of the running back position is, well, overvalued. RBs can at most affect a game by a singular point. Le'Veon Bell, the most valuable of running backs in the league, can only affect a game by a few percentage points. Now over the season, that can be devastating, but a single game, it's really not that much. Now Jason Norris is forgivable for having the favored team syndrome with the Lions, as I do with the Cleveland Browns. Now Diamond Friend, on the other hand, he has an unforgivable affliction that may be poisoning our viewership, not knowing what a spread is. We'll have a video out about the specifics of it in the near future, but in short, a negative number next to a team subtracts from that team's final score, if you choose them, that is. And a positive number next to a team adds to that team's final score, if you choose them. The higher score wins the bet, as with everything. So Diamond Fred, I didn't go 0 for 2 in the first 2 games, as the Colts covered the spread against the Ravens.
Now, on to our Week 17 picks. There will be no Sunday night football game this week, just a slate of early Sunday games and late Sunday games. Let's start with the 7 early Sunday games. The Packers travel to Detroit to take on the Lions. The Lions are 7-point favorites. Currently, 39% of the public have taken the Lions to cover at home. Fat Guy, who do you like against the spread?
Now, I'm going to preface this whole section with the idea that people seem to think that every team either has something to play for or nothing to play for. That's not true. Players are playing for jobs, so every team is playing for something. Cleveland, we can toss that one out, but every other team is playing for something. So that being said, I think Green Bay is going to cover that number against Detroit.
The next game up, the Jets travel to New England to take on the Pats. The Pats are 16.5-point favorites. Currently, 50% of the public have taken the Pats to cover at home. Fat Guy, who do you like against the spread?
That spread, again, with huge numbers, you guys know where I tend to sway. And with the number at 16.5, I'm just going to throw the money and take the Jets. It worked against New Orleans. Why couldn't it work against New England?
The Texans travel to Indy to take on the Colts. The Colts are 4.5-point favorites. Currently, 66% of the public have taken the Colts to cover at home. Fat Guy, who do you like against the spread?
We're going back to do-ups, do-downs. Now, Indianapolis, they put up a pretty good fight against the Ravens. And with that block punt at the end of the game, it really made things interesting. Houston got annihilated, as I'm sure you all saw. So that being said, I think the number is going to be a little bit inflated for Indy. This really should be about a 3-point game, I think. I'm going to take the Houston Texans, and I'm going to take the points.
Next up, the Browns travel to Pittsburgh to take on the Steelers. The Steelers are 14-point favorites. Currently, 32% of the public have taken the Steelers to cover at home. Fat Guy, who do you like against the spread?
Wow, there's actually some love for the Cleveland Browns at 68%. And that kind of worries me. So I'm going to go the other way with a team I hate betting on, the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm laying the 14, and let's just see another Browns massacre.
The Skins travel to New York to take on the Giants. The Skins are 3.5-point road favorites. Currently, 19% of the public have taken the Giants to cover at home. Fat guy, who do you like against the spread?
This is another do-up, do-down situation. Washington really is a good team. The Giants, not so much. That was on display when they lost 23-0 on the road, though, that is, and they're at home this week. I think they're going to find a way to close out the year, and maybe we'll say Redskins by a field goal, keep it within the number. So I'll take the Giants, and I'll take the points.
Next up, the Bears travel to Minnesota to take on the Vikings. The Vikings are 11.5-point favorites. Currently, 62% of the public have taken the Vikings to cover at home. Fat guy, who do you like against the spread?
Now, you'd think Chicago has nothing to play for, and I'm not thinking that's true again. I'm going to see an effort from the Bears, who I seem to pick every week, but 11.5 is a large number for a divisional game. Minnesota might even be the best team in the league, but I'm still going to stick with the Bears. I'm going to stick with Fox finishing out the season strong.
Next up, the last game of the Sunday early games. The Cowboys travel to Philadelphia to take on the Eagles. The Cowboys are 2.5-point road favorites. Only 21% of the public have taken the Eagles to cover at home. Fat guy, who do you like against the spread?
Dallas favorites in Philadelphia, you say? Why? Well, the Philadelphia Eagles are leaning towards resting a lot of their players, but that doesn't mean it's a gimme for the Dallas Cowboys. Philadelphia has almost historically good run defense this year, and I think that's going to be on display against Dallas. I think they're going to win outright, so I'm going to take the Eagles at home, even if it's a second-rate Eagles.
Now we're moving on to the 9 late games on Sunday. We'll start off with the Bengals traveling to Baltimore to take on the Ravens. The Ravens are 10-point favorites. Only 28% of the public have taken the Ravens to cover at home. Fat guy, who do you like against the spread?
Now this is set up for the fat guy to take the Bengals. I took them last week, and they definitely didn't disappoint against the Detroit Lions with a 26-17 outright victory. I'm going to take the Ravens, though. I think the Ravens are going to put their strong defense out on display, and they're going to be able to put up some points against the Bengals, even though I've been a fan of the Bengals secondary this year. So I'm going to lay the points reluctantly, and I'm going to take the Baltimore Ravens.
Next up, the Bills travel to Miami to take on the Dolphins. The Bills are 3-point road favorites. Only 29% of the public have taken the Dolphins to cover at home. Fat guy, who do you like against the spread?
Okay, this is another weird one where the Bills are still in contention, whereas Miami Dolphins are completely out of it. However, most people are taking the Bills, and the Miami Dolphins are dogs at home. And this is a revenge game from just 2 weeks ago. I'm still going to err on the side of the Buffalo Bills. I'm a little worried about Kenyon Drake and the Bills' ability to keep him in check. But other than that, I'm going to take the Buffalo Bills, and let's see if McCoy can pull off a big performance, preferably running to the outside of the tackles rather than the inside.
Next up, the Panthers travel to Atlanta to take on the Falcons. The Falcons are 4-point favorites. Currently, 46% of the public have taken the Falcons to cover at home. Fat guy, who do you like against the spread?
It's the same story in this division. Generally speaking, the home team wins. It's a strong division if you throw out the Bucs, so I'm going to take the Atlanta Falcons, and I'm going to lay the points.
Sticking in that division, the Saints travel to Tampa to take on the Bucs. The Saints are 7.5-point road favorites. Currently, 36% of the public have taken the Bucs to cover at home. Fat guy, who do you like against the spread?
Well, the Bucs are getting written off. I mean, I just threw them out just a second ago. I don't think they're a strong team, but it seems to be in this division that they're able to keep it close. The last 2 games against both the Panthers and the Falcons, the Buccaneers were able to keep it within a field goal, and going back even further, they only lost by 3 against the Detroit Lions. I think they're going to keep it close again. 7.5 is a lot of points at home, so let's keep everyone happy. Saints win by a touchdown on the road in Tampa Bay. Saints win, Bucs cover.
Next up, the Jags travel to Tennessee to take on the Titans. The Titans are 6-point favorites. Only 30% of the public have taken the Titans to cover at home. Fat guy, who do you like against the spread?
I love the Titans. I really like the Titans. Now, it's not because Jacksonville got exposed last week. Well, their defense, they gave up a lot of points, so they got exposed. By the way, the fat guy did pick San Francisco to win outright, just so everybody knows. But I'm going to take the Tennessee Titans, and I'm going to lay the points. There's a lot of inner workings to this divisional matchup, and I think the Titans pull it off. Let's see, maybe they make the playoffs.
Next up, the Raiders travel to LA to take on the Chargers. The Chargers are 8-point favorites. Currently, 75% of the public have taken the Chargers to cover at home. Fat Guy, who do you like against the spread?
I really like the Raiders. Now, they didn't put up that great a performance against Philadelphia, but they weren't quite out of it either. That defense really has improved under Pagano as opposed to Ken Norton Jr. And in this divisional matchup, 8 points, again, a high number. The Raiders aren't going to let the Chargers walk all over them. I think the Raiders are going to be able to cover. Chargers win by 3, by 7. I don't care. I think the Raiders are going to cover.
The Cards travel to Seattle to take on the Seahawks. The Seahawks are 8-point favorites. Currently, 63% of the public have taken the Seahawks to cover at home. Fat Guy, who do you like against the spread?
In perhaps Arians' last season, the Cardinals are going to be able to keep it within the number. They've been quietly doing pretty well in the last few games. They blew out the Giants last game 23-0. They lost on the road in Washington by 5, and they beat the Tennessee Titans at home 12-7. That's not so bad. I think the Arizona Cardinals are going to be able to keep it within the number, and I think sack threat Chandler Jones might be able to get his hands on Russell Wilson. So it's going to be a tough day for the Seahawks, I think, but I think Arizona's going to keep it within the number. Maybe the Seahawks still win.
Next up, we have the Chiefs traveling to Mile High to take on the Broncos. The Broncos are 3.5-point favorites. Only 24% of the public have taken the Broncos to cover at home. Fat Guy, who do you like against the spread?
All right, now I did say a lot about teams have nothing to play for. Well, the Chiefs may be that team, other than the Browns, that have nothing to play for. The Chiefs might lay an egg here. The only thing that I'm really worried about is it looks like Paxton Lynch is going to start, and I don't think he can really beat anybody. But I'm going to take the Broncos, and I'm going to lay the points against the Chiefs. The Chiefs want to keep all their tricks hidden for their playoff matchup coming up soon. So I'm going to take the Broncos, and I'm going to lay the points.
The final game is the 49ers traveling to LA to take on the Rams. The Rams are 4-point favorites. Currently, 48% of the public have taken the Rams to cover at home. Fat Guy, who do you like against the spread?
I'm going to be a little dangerous here. Now, the 49ers may have started 0-9, but with the addition of Jimmy Garoppolo, they are on a 4-game winning streak. Garoppolo is on fire. He just beat the Jags, hung the most points anyone has put on their defense last week, caused inner turmoil over there, and now they're up against the Rams, who are also one of the hottest teams in the league. I'm going to take the LA Rams, and Gurley is going to lead them to victory. Rams lay the 4 points. LA Rams.
Moving on to the lightning round, let's look at Sunday's early games. Green Bay at Detroit.
Regretfully, Hundley in the pack.
Jets at Patriots.
The Bulls Jets.
Houston at Indy.
Houston Texans.
Cleveland at Pittsburgh.
The vaunted Pittsburgh Steelers.
Washington at the Giants.
The G-Men.
Chicago at Minnesota.
Foxball Bears.
Dallas at Philly.
Fly Eagles Fly.
On to the Sunday late games. Cincinnati at Baltimore.
Ruthless Ravens.
Buffalo at Miami.
The Buffalo Bills.
Carolina at Atlanta.
The Hotlanta Falcons.
Saints at Bucks.
The Bucks Pirate Winter.
Jags at the Titans.
Tennessee Titans.
Raiders Chargers.
Pirate Winter Part 2. Oakland Raiders.
Arizona at Seattle.
The Arizona Cardinals.
Kansas City at Denver.
Denver Broncos.
And to finish up the week, San Francisco at the Rams.
The booming McVay LA Rams.
Bronies, that's it for us. Good luck with your picks in Week 17. Got blood in my stool.